Welcome back, it's me Lou, and I'm here for another action figure review, but this is going to be a little different and a little bit special. We are looking at this, a G.I. Joe Classified Series, but it's from G.I. Joe Resolute, and we have Duke. So, what makes this figure so special? Okay, so first off, this is a custom action figure. This is not an action figure that you could buy at retail. And the story behind this figure is this. So last year, around April or March, when they released the G.I. Joe Classified series, they gave us maybe like a handful of characters. And I was really excited about that toy line. I bought the first wave immediately, and they're awesome, they're beautiful. We finally got, after all these years, 6-inch versions of G.I. Joes. They gave us Snake Eyes, they gave us Duke, they gave us Scarlet, Destro, and it was for me, it was a dream come true. But part of me was kind of like, man, I kind of wish they give us more figures. And at the time, they didn't really say what their plans were. I think this might have been before the Target exclusives came out, the Cobra Island ones. And I just knew that I wanted more figures. So, as I stated in previous videos, I just started making my own G.I. Joe customs. I wanted more 6-inch classified G.I. Joe figures, so I just made my own. And one version, or one character in particular I wanted to make a version of Duke from the G.I. Joe Resolute animation. And the reason behind that was, for one, G.I. Joe Resolute, it's a really kick-ass, kind of like G.I. Joe cartoon. It's awesome. It's very different than what you've seen during the 80s. It was a much more modern, grittier take on G.I. Joe, and it's just really cool. And another reason why I wanted to make this is because when G.I. Joe Resolute came out, here's the actual DVD. So when this came out, I believe it was a web series at first. I think. I might be wrong on that. If it was aired on television, just let me know in the comments below. But when G.I. Joe Resolute debuted, they actually had a line of action figures for this. Those figures were kind of like dispersed in the main line, but on the card it'd say Resolute underneath the logo. And they released a handful of these guys. I remember there was a Duke. I think there might have been a Zartan. There was a Cobra Commander. I think there was a Snake Eyes and a couple more. And I sold my figures a couple years back, and I've been kicking myself ever since. I'm like, it was a stupid move. At the time, I thought I was kind of done collecting. Joke's on me, right? Who's ever done collecting? And I just kind of sold some of the stuff that I didn't really thought I needed anymore. And I had the figures on card. And I'm like, I don't really need these anymore. And I sold them, and I've regretted it ever since. And I think every now and then I'd go on eBay and I try to hunt them down, but I don't want to pay those prices, and I don't want to try to complete the set, because for me, it's more money than it's worth. So then I was kind of like, you know what I could do? At the very least, maybe I could at least make a custom G.I. Joe Resolute figure. And then I'm like, okay, let's just do Duke. Duke's kind of like the iconic character. When I think of G.I. Joe, I always think of Duke, Snake Eyes, and Duke's easy to make. And they already kind of made a G.I. Joe Classified Duke, and I'm like, I could just take his head and head swap him with something. So then I was like, okay, what could I use for a base? And I had this figure. I had two of these action figures, actually. They were on sale at the time at Target. They were clearanced. And it was this. It was a McFarlane Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and it's Captain Price. So if you played Call of Duty, you know who this dude is. And I had two of them. I think I bought them for maybe $4 each or something. It was something stupid. And I actually had one loose, and this is the one that I kept on card because, I don't know, I have nothing else to do with it, and I just display it with my other carded McFarlane figures. But I had a loose one. And then I remember the body kind of reminded me of Duke's body armor in the cartoon. And this is actually the card art for the original 3 3/4 Resolute figure. And I'm like, you know what? It kind of resembles Duke. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe I can use this Captain Price as the base. And then take I had a couple of the Duke classified figures as it was, because I was already in the process of making customs. So maybe I think I had a spare Duke head laying around. And I'm like, I know I'm going to take that Duke head and I'm going to slap it on this body. And I did. And I got this. So for me, having this figure makes up for the fact that I sold my collection of G.I. Joe Resolute action figures. At the very least, I had at least one character to represent that animation that I was fond of. And it's not a one-for-one copy of his costume and the animation, but for me, it's a close approximation. He kind of has the flap jacket, and he has it here. He has the higher collar, and over here it's kind of, it's almost like a scarf kind of deal, but it works. I think Captain Price's sidearm actually kind of resembled these also, so that kind of worked for me. Also, that kind of also worked in its favor. And yeah, so I kind of designed this package also. I took the original card, kind of touched it up in Photoshop. I found this. I don't know where I found this. I don't know what this plastic case is from, actually. I don't know what this is. I think this might have been an action figure case for maybe a Star Wars figure, but I had to modify it, and so I could have a larger bubble that could accommodate the big figure. So I think that's what this is. So I can't actually open this either. This is kind of like stapled shut, so I can't necessarily take the figure out. So we'll just have to look at it from the outside. Yeah, so I designed the card art, threw on the classic Hasbro logo, the warning, the title card, codename Duke, First Sergeant. And on the back, this took the artwork from the movie, and then I created a bio card for him. So yeah, this is my custom G.I. Joe Classified Series Resolute Duke figure. And it's for me, it's a great companion piece, for this. I really wish I still had the 3 3/4 figures, and I hate myself for selling them. And that's a lesson to be learned. Okay, so if you have a collection of action figures, always think twice before you sell something. Like, if you really need the money and you're hard up for money, and you need to pay the bills, of course, sell your action figures. Get what you can for it. But if you think you're bored of an action figure, or you might want something else, or if you think it's overstayed its welcome, think twice before you get rid of it. The worst thing in the world is when you sell an action figure and it becomes hard to hunt down later on. You might end up paying anywhere between 2 to 3 times as much as before. Or worst case scenario, what you sold was rare and it's hard to find. So, I've learned my lesson. Next time, think twice before I sell my stuff. Because, I've never sold an action figure or toy and say, I'm glad I did that. Every time I've sold something, down the road, I always regretted it, because it's like I said, either it's hard to find, or it just becomes too pricey to pay down the road on eBay or something. Well, enough about that. This is my G.I. Joe custom Resolute Duke. I have more customs I'll hopefully share in the future. So, in the meantime, thank you very much for stopping by, and I'll talk to you later. Take care.